Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So today, let's talk about what caused the Bitcoin dump. Is the bull run over? Why is everything looking so bleak once again? Or is it? So let's talk about all these things and more. Let's do this. Welcome, guys. Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. You can see right now, Bitcoin is right around 23,000. So just a few days ago, we were at 24,000, and now we're at 23,000. And of course, I can sense it. I could feel it. I could see it in a live chat. Many people are discouraged once again, wondering if we have been in a giant bull trap and we're heading back down to 12,000 as some people have predicted. Well, I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer whether or not those things are true. But right now you can see, yeah, we are at 23,000. What happened on Friday? Well, Friday was the catalyst, and that's because we received PCE inflation data in the U.S., okay? And inflation showed we went up in January versus December. We had like 6 consecutive down months for inflation readings, and then PCE all of a sudden in January went up slightly, a slight tick, okay, just a slight tick, and people started freaking out. I mean, investors, Wall Street, all these big guys, like, oh my God, now there's talks about the next, rate hike being 50 basis points instead of 25. Is the Fed going to be more hawkish? All this stuff, right? So Friday was not good for U.S. market. And DXY started pumping up too. So you could see the DXY is at 105, right? So these things obviously did not help Bitcoin's current recovery. So I do believe that is why we're back down to 23. Although you can make the case, a lot of charters would make the case, regardless of those things, Bitcoin has just been too overbought. And if you look at some of the time scales, like the daily, it does show Bitcoin needed to come down. So whether it's macro, whether it's technical, right? Bitcoin came down. It's simple as that. But the $1 million question is the recovery, is the path to the next bull run over? And the answer is no. The answer is no. Here's the reason. Despite the fact we have come back down to 23,000, let's not forget where we started. Where do we start the beginning of the year? We started the beginning of the year right here at 16,000. Okay? We were January 1st of 2023. People forgot that Bitcoin was still at $16,000. Okay? So 16 to even where we are in 23 within a matter of 2 months is a fantastic place to be at. We had a huge recovery since then, right? And taking a little breather is okay. You can't have parabolic mountain climbing to the moon forever. You need to have some breaks, right? So just because we came back down a little bit does not mean anything. And you could see clearly that when we first touched upon about 24,000, we also had a little breather. We breathed right back down to 21,000, right? And then what happened? Boom. We recovered and we formed a new high, right? So we have certainly seen periods like this before. This is not time to panic, okay? Especially considering we started a year at $16,000. And we really didn't move until like the third week of January, right? And if you put that in perspective, well, then it's only been like a month and a half, all right? And if we're using history as a guide, and we're looking at previous cycles and previous recoveries from bottom, well, you'll see that, yeah, there's a lot of up and downs. There's a lot of up and downs, right? This one is looking at a 200-day 200 daily moving average, not weekly, but daily moving average. And there's been times where Bitcoin has broken above and great things happen. Other times when it broke above, it retested it and then moved forward. So the question is, are we going to retest that 200 daily moving average, or are we going to continue upwards? But I want to concentrate on what happened after the last bottom, which happened in 2019. It's on the very left side. The very left side, the circle point, that is when Bitcoin started recovering, broke above the 200 daily moving average. And if you look at the very right side, same thing happened. But let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on that. What happened exactly? Well, this is 2019 versus 2023, right before that big breakout, right? So you could see we had a pretty good climb. Then we made a couple of higher highs, right? We dipped back down. Yes, when you zoom in, you realize, and even in 2019, we did back down quite a lot. In fact, before the run started, Bitcoin was at 5,600, 5,700, and then it dipped down to about 4,800. If you do the math, that's a huge, horrendous drop. But guess what? Guess what? That was actually a big, giant fake out, because look at what happened afterwards. Had you gotten out at that point, you would have missed a tremendous run up to $14,000 from that point, right? And if you're looking at right now, even we dip back down to 21, 22, even 20,000, right? That does not mean it's over. That does not mean we're not continuing on. If anything, this could just be a giant fake out before the next huge run up, like this. Here's another look at it. In 2019, after Bitcoin finally broke above the resistance, the channel it was in, guess what happened? It just kept going and going and going and going. And that is what's looking like right now, right? We've broken above. We've hit that 25,000 for a week or two, right? The next time we test it and we break it, we could have a huge climb, and then we just keep moving forward, right? So this is using history. This is using what happened last time, the last cycle, when we hit bottom and we started recovering. No, it's not just an instant pump to the moon. There were some days up and down, right? And it's perfectly normal. But the more you zoom out, the more you realize that we're in a great shape and we're following the patterns of previous cycles, because we are heading to the next halving event. And you can see it's clearly laid out on the bottom side. I don't know what the bottom is, probably RSI, some kind of indicator that's measuring oversold levels. But obviously, every time Bitcoin started breaking out, well, great things happened afterwards, right? So, are we over? Is the bull run done? The answer is no. No. We are still recovering. Of course, there's macro stuff to worry about. There's technical stuff to also worry about. But long term, more and more people are coming into the space. More holders are in the space, and more Bitcoin is being removed from the exchanges and held by the holders. And it's just a simple supply versus demand. Supply is decreasing. The demand is increasing. And that is why Bitcoin will break its previous high and form a new high after the next halving event in 2024. And 2025 will be absolutely fantastic. Here's another technical chart that I found for those of you guys that like TA. But again, you look at what has happened right now versus some of the previous times, very, very similar. This one is actually comparing to the 2013 cycle and how we hit a bottom at 2015, and we're looking very, very similar to that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, let's talk about some altcoins. One that's not doing so well, okay? It had, we heard of Coinbase last week, right? Made a big splash about coming out with Base, their layer 2. But also the big thing, what they want to do is become a fiat on-ramp for not only Ethereum, but Solana and others. Coinbase does support Solana, but unfortunately Solana is having some real problems right now. Okay, their entire network is down. It just seems to happen way too often with Solana, but their entire network is down. This is a block explorer for Solana, and you can see their transactions per second now has dropped to 47 from a healthy 4,000, 5,000 down to about 47, and they are rushing to try to downgrade their current software. Like all the nodes are trying to downgrade their certain to the previous software, and then most likely they're going to do a reboot. But again, some kind of bug happened that caused a lot of forks to happen, and the team is trying to fix it. Unfortunately, we've been hearing about Solana. I mean, obviously Solana took a big blow when FTX went under, right? But that's not their fault. But what is their fault is all the network outages that they can't seem to fix. Even the hardcore Solana guys now have to admit that, yeah, Solana has problems with its network. There's no other network out there that fails as much as Solana. In 2022, it happened like at least a half dozen times. In 2021, it happened a half dozen times. And now starting in 2023, it has happened again. And these are not quick, easy fixes. And they require an entire reboot. So that is the latest. Trying to get all the coordinators or all the nodes to downgrade to 1.13, and then they're going to ask everyone to reboot. So this is on them. This has nothing to do with FTX anymore, right? But this is one of the reasons why Solana is no longer as strong as they were in 2021. Like you could not stop Solana in 2021. Just kept going up and up and up and up, and then 2022 it really dived, and it really, people started to move to other chains that they like. So hopefully they fix this soon. But of course, whenever you have something like this happen, it's no good. I'm actually surprised that it didn't sell off more. Probably because the network is down and you can't even sell or transfer even if you wanted to. I guess that's the good thing about the network being down. But the other one I want to talk about is Avalanche. Avalanche made some big news today. Specifically, this partnership from China, Tencent, which is a huge, tech company out of China. They decided they want to go all in on Web 3.0, just like all the other media and internet giants of the world, right? And they decided to partner with Avalanche. So, kind of like how Google Cloud does it and Amazon Cloud does it, right? They partner with Avalanche and they want to help businesses jump into the Web 3.0 space and utilize Avalanche, to accomplish that, right? So you can now spin up Avalanche subnets within Tencent's cloud, which is really good. It's a big partnership. But not only that, we know that Beijing, we know that China has recently warmed up to the idea of crypto, right? A lot of news from Hong Kong regulating exchanges, allowing retail investors to invest once again. But a lot of people missed out that just last week they approved a research hub in Beijing, which is why I think a lot of companies like Tencent now wants to jump in. And it can be absolutely huge for crypto all around, but also the crypto projects are based in China, right? But outside of this Tencent news, Avalanche already formed a partnership with AWS already, which is Amazon. Amazon also is trying to get into the space. There's talks about Amazon possibly releasing NFTs or something to do with NFTs or rewards or something. And that's going to be based on Avalanche, but Avalanche nodes can also be spun up in AWS. There's a lot of things happening right now, so It's good for the entire space, but I think this will be great for Avalanche. All right. That is pretty much it. The last thing I want to show you guys is the DXY. I talked about DXY going up, right? Whenever DXY goes up, it's no good. So I brought this up. This is the DXY. On a daily chart, you could see, like from here on, it started going up. Didn't really affect Bitcoin, and then recently it did. If you zoom in a little bit, you'll see, yeah, it does have an effect. So this is DXY shooting up recently, right? And Bitcoin showed some weakness. So again, some of the macro conditions is contributing to Bitcoin's, it's recent weakness, let's say, okay? But of course, from a chart perspective, Bitcoin is also showing that it's just overbought. It needs to come down. It needs to take a breather. It needs to consolidate. But long term, Bitcoin is still looking great. Not time to be giving up by any means. All right, let's do some Q&A. Wow, first time I've seen a super chat on Rumble from Jimmy Doss. DCA, mother Bitcoiners, just proves that BTC is the way because the U.S. government can't get their S in line. The government is still spending like sailors while trying to solve it by raising rates on citizens. That's exactly right. Jimmy, that's exactly right. The more you learn about how money works, how government works, how central banks work, the more you realize that they're all unsustainable. They're run like Ponzi's, and eventually they're all going to collapse, which is why Bitcoin was invented and now getting bigger and bigger and more adopted and more looked at because more and more people are understanding what's truly happening around the world. All right. Let me scroll up, make sure I didn't miss anything. Pixel FX says, I like how George is telling us it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. It is. Still bullish on Polygon? Yes, I talk about Polygon quite a lot. Men Hobbies. Thoughts on Blur token versus OpenSea? Or did you say OperanSeas? I don't know. Blur. A lot of people talking about Blur simply because there was some kind of airdrop, right? I don't even know how you claim it. I don't know if you just like connect your wallet and it automatically does it. I don't know. I see a lot of people talking about Blur and, there's too much enthusiasm over it. I mean, quite simply, it's just a NFT marketplace. I don't get too excited about NFT marketplaces. They serve a purpose. If you want to sell and buy NFTs, great. But outside of that, I don't quite understand the enthusiasm. But it is what it is. If you got a lot of Blur tokens for free, then good for you. I'm not a fan, Orange Lambo. I'm not a fan of 1inch. They operate like a centralized exchange. Basically, they block. If you're a U.S. citizen, they block you from trading a lot of the tokens on their on their platform. I'm not a fan of that. When you buy a car, do you finance or buy it outright? It depends. If I'm buying a Honda Civic, yeah, it's going to be in cash, no problem. But if I'm buying a Ferrari, I'm going to finance it because I'd rather not put all that cash into it and use it to invest, right? So it depends. It depends. Digibong. I've looked at Oasis before. I mean, it looks like a promising L1. Nothing stands out. I can't recall anything that stands out in my head about it. So that's the thing. I mean, these days you need something that makes it stand out, and I don't know what. I mean, I don't know what makes them stand out. I guess maybe this is because, you know, I think they're like, you know, they focus on privacy. They're EVM compatible, so they allow dApps to utilize their network, EVM compatible dApps, to utilize their network and gain privacy, right? I think that's kind of their niche, but whether or not dApps really use it for that reason, I don't know. So nothing really stands out at this point, but you know, that doesn't mean that they're not a good project. They're on some good exchanges. Their circulating supply 57%. They have a set supply of 10 billion. I mean, those are good things. So just leave it at that. Export a wallet app live in 2 days for Elrond. Well, it's no longer called Elrond. Called Multiverse X or something like that. I think they could have done better with the name. My wife finally made it to 2 BTC. Wow. Congratulations. Why your wife? Why not you? Or are you guys sharing? Or you have more? But regardless, good for her. XRP news? There's no XRP news right now. There's none, Flash Gordon. Sorry. It's got to wait to see what happens with the lawsuit. George, if you had 50K in cryptocurrency and some strong coins, can you hit $1 million in 2025? Well, that's like going up, what, 20x? I don't know. There's a possibility. I would say most coins could do at least a 10x. Maybe some could do like a 15, 20x. It's possible, but for an entire portfolio to go up 20x, I don't know. It's possible, but off chance. It's, you know, very probable, I would say, between 5 to 10x for sure. Why is ACH pumping? Well, they're Chinese-based, and there's a lot of enthusiasm over China right now. Their bullish stance towards crypto. Someone else said they partnered up with Google Pay or something. I don't know if that's true. Let's see. Here. Alchemy Pay surges after supporting Google Pay. Yeah, so basically Alchemy Pay is via on-ramp, so I guess they allow people to use Google Pay to buy crypto. It's not vice versa. It's not Google Pay supporting Alchemy Pay. It's Alchemy Pay supporting Google Play. So, I mean, it's good, but I don't think that's the real reason why it's going up. The real reason, I think, is just because there's a lot of enthusiasm over China right now and their bullishness. Best AI token? I don't quite know. I don't know. There's a lot in this space. AI has really cooled off, right? Like there's this whole bunch of enthusiasm over ChatGPT, but now it's like all the AI coins that pumped, that kind of dumped. I don't know what the best one is. The leaders is obviously Singularity and Fetch, but there's others in this space. I don't know. Any word from Vold? I have no clue, man. Clay, go to their website and check it out. I have no clue. Ocean and GRT, I mean, they're kind of in the AI space, kind of not. Render's kind of in this space, but they're all light associations. People are just associating everything with AI now. The graph is not really an AI at all, but it pumped because people think it is. It indexes and creates API for projects. Ocean is as a decentralized marketplace. They throw in a buzzword like you could throw AI data in there, but they're not really for AI. I mean, so there's a lot of projects associated with it. Render, like, 3D rendering, and somehow people are saying, well, you can render AI objects and stuff. Sure, but it wasn't created for that, right? But it's like the hot buzzword that everyone is trying to like associate with their project. George, is something wrong with Solana? Yeah, it's down. The entire network is down. That's what's wrong. There's some new upgrade with a bug, and now it has brought the network down to its knees. You can't do anything with Solana, supposedly. And it's bad. It's very bad. You can see right here. Transactions fell from 5,000 down to 115 right now. Xportal app will have a live chat messenger feature, no other wallet. Who gives a F, Bobby? Who gives a F? Who do you want to live chat with? It's like it's a wallet. It's not meant to be a social app. Yeah, get over it, all right? And don't be attacking me. Yeah, it's unfortunate that, Solana got hit hard because of the association with FTX. But that's just because SBF, that wasn't due to Solana itself necessarily, but they're still suffering from this all the time. You hear about this way too much, some kind of bug, the time is off, something happened, they have to reset, right? And I think it's been a couple hours now, at least 1 hour, 2 hours. They had this bug, and now they're trying to downgrade all their validators or nodes, and they have to reboot. So it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And I think it's Anton, right? He's the founder. He used to poke fun of like Cardano. He pokes fun of Bitcoin, right? Saying that they need to be faster. They need to be, I don't know what the word exactly is, but they need to be doing more to improve and upgrade and all this stuff, right? He used to talk a lot of smack about other projects. Now you don't hear that so much. Deep random thinker. I did look up Caspa. I don't, again, kind of like Rose. I didn't see much. Yes, from a techno perspective, they use a DAG, they call it Ghost DAG, and it sounds like from a techno perspective, great. But so does Cadena, so does a lot of other projects. So I don't know how well they will do. They have potential, but nothing that really stands out right away. It's not even proof of work, so it's not like you can mine with it. There's like this notion or this group of people that are searching out proof of work coins because they believe it's better, right? So Caspa doesn't have that either, but Cadena does. They're still proof of work, and Flux, I guess Ethereum Classic, Doge, Litecoin, Bitcoin. You know, there's not that many that are proof of work these days. It's not Caspa's not proof of work. They took the concept of it and changed it. They're a DAG. And the great thing about DAGs, there's nothing wrong with DAGs. There's a lot of DAGs out there, but they're not a blockchain, and they're basically feeless, and they're very fast. They're very fast and very feeless. So Ghost DAG is some variation of that. And I'm not saying that's bad. Some people argue DAGs are better than blockchains, but yeah. Caspa doesn't have smart contracts and can't run smart contract. That I didn't know. I didn't know that. It's actually quite amazing that some of these projects still can't. But I guess it depends on the use case. If it was meant to be a currency and currency alone, right, like Bitcoin, some people think, I don't know, I've seen people say, oh, you know, Caspa is like Bitcoin 2.0. I mean, nothing's going to be Bitcoin 2.0. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Nothing will replace it. But if you're creating a crypto meant to just be a currency, yeah, there's no need for smart contract. But then I think you're setting yourself up for a complete failure. So I didn't even know Caspa didn't have smart contracts. They will probably eventually add it, but they need to. Otherwise, what's that other one that no one even talks about anymore? They had completely died because they were in that same direction. And, oh man, they used to be big. I can't even remember who they are anymore. I don't know what page they're on anymore. Oh man, there was a project that was created exactly for that reason, and they are dead. Shoot, I forgot. And they were also a DAG. They were not IOTA. IOTA was in that space, but then they came up with smart contracts, and they're trying to be EVM compatible, or they are EVM compatible now. Man, I forgot what the shoot. Yeah, I think they're just dead. I can't even remember that. I can't even find them. Anyways, not important. Not important. Flash Gordon says, we have been in a bull run for 14 years realistically. That's one way to look at it. Technically, that's true. That's true. No, Pete, it wasn't IOTA. So it was another one that was a DAG too. You got everyone thinking about which one it is now. No, I'll look it up. It was really popular in 2017, 2018, 2021. It never caught on, and I think is pretty much dead. But it was another project that was in the payment space. They were a DAG, and they never evolved to smart contracts, and they just died. Even IOTA, you know, they were in that space too, and they had to evolve. So IOTA came out with 2 other chains, which is EVM compatible developer chain, and they introduced smart contracts. I mean, you have to introduce smart contracts. Even Hedera, they're a DAG. I totally forgot. Hedera's a DAG. They introduced smart contract. When they started out, they had none. You can't survive being a currency play in crypto. You have to have smart contracts. Without it, you can't even run DEXs. You can't have liquidity pools. You can't have really, you can't even onboard liquidity at all. You can't have bridges. You can't do anything, right? And nothing will displace Bitcoin as a store of value or as a liquidity, as, you know, medium exchange for payments, especially now that Lightning Network is getting pretty big. So yeah, if you're a L1, like, you have to have smart contracts. You just cannot not. No, it's not Waves. It's not XRP. How many BDC, how many X can BDC do in the next run? You know, 10X. Even BDC, I could think, could do a 10X. 230, 250,000 by end of 2025. Is that possible? I think so. I think so. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Today, I know Bitcoin is down, you know, 23,000. Does that mean the bull run is over? No. No, that's not what it means. There are many reasons why it came down temporarily, because macro factors, because DXY, because of fears over inflation, right? Because of technicals, maybe Bitcoin is oversold or overbought. But, you know, Bitcoin is doing what it always has, right? Coming up from bottom, consolidating. There may be some rocky periods, but if you zoom out, you'll realize that we are starting the next bull run already. We're not at the tail end. We're at the very beginning, and this is the most exciting point, really. So, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.